Meme stock investor Keith Gill, also known as Roaring Kitty, of course, on social media, he's under regulatory scrutiny. The Massachusetts securities regulator looking into Gill's GameStop trading activity and social media use. This comes after shares of the video game retailer surged after a Reddit account that's associated with Keith revealed a huge stake in GameStop. Joining us now to discuss, we have Lisa Bragança, former SEC Enforcement Branch Chief, where she led investigations into securities fraud, insider trading, market manipulation, and other trading practices. Lisa, great to speak with you. You can give us a really good insight into kind of the legal back and forth here because you were formerly SEC. Now I know you represent individuals who may be under regulatory scrutiny. So talk to me about the single biggest case that the SEC could have against Keith Gill here, given that he is disclosing a lot of his activity, which is typically what the SEC wants, is disclosures.
Thank you for letting me be here. And so the issue is generally disclosure. I think that regulators are looking at, is this a market manipulation? Is there some insidious purpose behind these posts that Keith Gill is making? And are they basically being done so that he can make more on his holdings? Now, I'm not saying that they have a good case on that. I have no idea what his private conduct is. He has chosen to disclose what his holdings were at a snapshot in time. He may continue to be holding all those calls on GameStop stock and all that long position on GameStop stock. But if that changes, if he sells some stock now that it's bumped up, if he sells his calls or exercises his calls, that may be a problem. But I think the main thing that the regulators will be looking at is he coordinating with anybody else, which we have no evidence of at this point, but you wouldn't expect to see evidence of that in the public realm. And then the next level is there some kind of private benefit that he is getting from his public post? Basically, is this a pump and dump?
So, Lisa, my question to you is the point that you just brought up is whether or not he is coordinating with others. I guess more specifically, in order for regulators to prove that, what size of that investor base, how many people, how do they determine, I guess, whether or not it is market manipulation versus him just telling a few people about what he plans to do or could do?
That is as the SEC often says, and other regulators, it's figured out on a case-by-case basis. It really depends on the facts. It could be two people who are secretly doing things in the marketplace that make it appear that drives the stock up. So there has to be something that rises to the level of a manipulation. If I just, purchase 20% of the stock of a company and I publicly disclose that I've purchased 20% of that public company, that's just disclosure. So here the question is, what do those other posts mean when he's talking about leaning in? He posted something, picture of somebody leaning in, and then he posted an Uno reverse card. Right. Who knows what that means?
Right.
And then what is going on that's not public? So I would be concerned if I were advising him on what he's going to do with those call options. Options are not stock. You don't just hold them forever. Well, you can hold them to expiration, but the expiration date on these options is June 21st. That's a short time frame, and he's going to have to make a decision before June 21st whether he's going to sell them, and he would make a profit on them, at least at the moment, right, or whether he's going to hold them and have to come up with hundreds of millions of dollars to fulfill his obligation under those contracts and right, buy the stock.
So, Lisa, final minute with you here. Let's say Keith Gill, watching our show, as I'm sure he does every morning, he hears your insights, gives you a call. What advice do you give him today about what he should do moving forward?
I would advise him, and again, I shouldn't be giving legal advice online, but in general, I don't know the facts, but I would tell folks like him to disclose before you sell that you intend to sell. If you want a sort of get out of jail free card, if that's more important than a regulatory investigation, and that's a business risk. But if you disclose first and say, I intend to sell on June 10th all of my call options, then the market can absorb all that information and then you sell. Now, that's probably going to drive the price of the calls down because he's a big holder of call options. But if you want to avoid, regulatory scrutiny of whatever you do with those call options, that's something you can do.
Lisa Bragança, we really appreciate you taking the time to join us here and for your insight this morning. Former SEC Enforcement Branch Chief. Thanks so much, Lisa.